and today I'm putting together a mix for soil cubes. I've got over here some AKER husk, so that's coconut from the industrial coconut process, all taken apart, and then normally this would be AKER peat, which would be little fibers like you can see at the bottom here, but I've had to take this because I couldn't find it and then grind it using a coffee grinder, which took ages, and that's just over here. I've also got some compost here, which is just compost from the local shop. I've taken that and sieved it so it's nice and nice and light, and all the big bits are taken out. Sorry, there's a plane overhead. Hello people flying above me. I've also got this stuff called vermiculite, which I think is a dried vermiculture mix, which brings aeration and moisture to the soil. And I'm in the process of mixing all these things here. So here's the vermiculite and the compost, and I've got some garden soil just from the garden here in my little pot too. And I showed you the AKER husk before, but here's that. And you basically want 1 part AKER peat to 2 parts compost to 1 part vermilite, and then I'm chucking in some soil too. And then I'm gonna whisk all these together and then put it in the soil cube press, which we've developed. This is just a laser cut little pressing. Well, I've pushed it on my face, I'm one-handed here, but basically the inside of this presses down and you can create a cube. It also creates, if you can see in there, a little hole where you can put the seed, and from that you create a cube. Airplane's coming over again. You live under the flight path, which is kind of annoying. So this cube is pressed, and then the benefit of using soil cubes is essentially that you don't need an individual container for each of the plants you're incubating, and they air prune, meaning that the roots, rather than coming to the edges like in some pots, the roots come to the edges, and when you transplant them from the pot into the outdoors or into an exterior plant pot, they get a lot of shock, and that can actually prevent the plant from growing or even kill the plant. So soil cubes are beneficial in that sense, that they prevent the root shock. So I'm going to mix this together now and press it, and then I'm going to place the cube into our cube house, which is an incubator for soil cubes that we've developed. So yeah, here we go. Here's the AKER, and here is the garden soil. I'm just going to mix it in together, and it's kind of dry, so I'm probably going to need to wet this, because when you make the cubes you want the soil to be a nice soggy, spongy wetness. So this is now getting to a nice consistency. When I'm wringing it with my hands, you can see a bit of water's dropping out. That's kind of what you want. You want to be just like holding it a bit like a sponge. And now my hands are super dirty, so my brother's filming me, thank you, Titus. So I want to take my soil cube press. Fortunately, it kind of sits up on its head like that, which is nice. And then I want to take a nice dollop of soil, push it inside, get it nice and compact, not too much though, and then just push it on the ground, push this top down. You can see there's a bit of water coming out. It's nice and compressed, and then I just grab this sides with my fingers and up it comes. That's a bit tighter than you would want probably, and this actually might be a bit too wet, this soil. But after I've got this cube, it's holding together quite nicely, and so what I want to do now is take a seed, right here I've got some sweet basil. And I'm just gonna pop a couple of seeds into there and then cover it up, and then it's ready to go. Just put them straight in actually because they're kind of hard to see. Okay, seeds inside. Pop a bit of extra soil in the top. And Bob's your aunt. Now this cube is essentially the container that you need to use now for the rest of the propagation process. So I'll just take this cube now, and over here I've got the AKER soil cube incubator. Just open this up, and then you plop this little guy in there. And now, basically, this tube that you see going through here is an irrigation tube. So I'm just going to cut this to shape, put this into a filled glass of water, which I can sit on top here, suck this through, and then block it, and then the pressure will be pulling the water through. And then all I have to do is pierce a hole here, 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 and here, and then my 4 soil cubes are going to be drip irrigated, and all I have to do is make sure that the cup doesn't go empty. If it does, I just fill it up again and suck through, and it'll just create the same line of irrigation. This will actually go on the inside, the propagator, the inside of the window. So you want to put it in a sunny window where the light is coming and striking the cubes for at least 8 hours a day. Depending on what kind of plant you're trying to grow, the basil is going to be okay, it won't need too much sun. And you just leave this in your window, this kind of interior heats up, the drip irrigation keeps it nice and moist, and hopefully if this system works, which I pray that it does, it will we'll have some nice seedlings started to then transplant into a bigger cube, which I'll talk more about that later. But this is the soil cube propagator, and if you'd like to download it, you can go onto our website, download the laser cutting file, and then make your own at home and work along with us, testing these systems as we go. Thanks a lot. Here are the soil cubes all together in soil cube propagator, also known as the Cube House. Follow us at aker.me to download our files and work with us in designing and developing this new micro agriculture system.